Hi, today I want to show you a really nice and sweet Vlookup alternative, which is not replacing Vlookup. It's better in any way, and I want to prove you that, and I hope that you will love it so much that you will forget about Vlookup in future. This will also work on every Excel version like 2003, 2007, or as I have here, 2011. Let's get started. So I have a new sheet Vlookup usual just to show the disadvantages of the usual Vlookup to you. I go into my IT systems sheet, which we were working on. So I copy some IDs, copy them here, and now let's assume I want to get the hardware costs, this is here, column F, into this other sheet using Vlookup. So I type in equals Vlookup, first argument, search value, what do I search? This ID. Second argument, where do I search? The array. You know that the array is always arranged like this. And the left column, the most left column of the array must be always the column where the system ID is. And the right column can be the column where the value is, or can be right from the column. The array must only include the value column. Okay, so I go from A to G now, and I go down, 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 down. This is usually sometimes a problem, but you can solve this easily because you never know how big this will be. So you can just go down and then go back into this editor and then just type 99999, something like that. Then the index is the column where the value is, the value which shall be returned, starting with 1. So we start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I give back a 6, my hardware cost, and the last argument must be always 0. If you forget this 0, you run into big problems because it's kind of random. If you forget the 0, the formula thinks that you are dealing with a sorted list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it gives you back the value which is closest to what you have searched. Usually your IDs, of course, are not sorted, so it will not work. It will be complete random. So never forget the 0, okay? So now I hit enter, and I have 108,000 from this ID. This was correct. Okay, formula is correct. So now first problem. If you drag this down now, this is still working, okay? But it's not working, for example, with the first ID anymore. Why? Because I made a mistake here, which is a usual mistake. I dragged it down because it was working, but the reference is still going down with me. You see that? I'm A5 to G99999. Then I have A6 to G1,000,000, A7, 1,000,001, and so on and so on. And this happens really often that you forget that. That's a problem. And then here it's still working because this corresponding array is going down only by 1, and so the ID is by coincidence still in. That's the reason why you sometimes don't even realize that you make a mistake. But then there comes the point when you have searched for an ID which is out of the range, and then you get an A, and of course you think it's not in, but it is in, just your formula was wrong, okay? So you can avoid that by hitting or by typing these dollar signs, one before the column letter, one before the row number in both cases. So I have 4 dollar signs here. But the problem is that sometimes I forget, and I guess you sometimes also forget. So that's what I don't like about this function, number 1. Now I can drag it down, and now it's working. So perfect. Second thing I don't like. The system ID must be always on the left side. You can only search from left to right. You cannot search from right to left. For example, if I had the IDs here on the right side, you couldn't go from right to left. Why do I need that? Sometimes the ID is not in the first, sometimes it's in the second or in the third column, and sometimes I have my own ID, you know, like a hidden ID for myself, and I want to have it in the most right column, you know? So VLOOKUP doesn't work. So even if that doesn't apply to you, there's another problem, and at least this is a big problem. If you change the structure here, for example, you add a new column, your VLOOKUP won't realize that. So normally the 6 is now 7, right? Because you go now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But the VLOOKUP formula does not update. So it's still 6, and now it shows you some other things, which is the date. It shows you the date instead of the hardware cost. This is the date as a number. In case you don't know, the date is a number starting from the 1st January 1900, I guess. And so if you get the date as a VLOOKUP, you have it as a number, and now I can, for example, here set the formula to a date again. But this is the real big problem. If you are working seriously with VLOOKUP and you're adding some things at the structure, all your VLOOKUP formulas are destroyed. You have to do it all over again, and then you can make mistakes maybe. So the VLOOKUP has some disadvantages. So first one, you never know if this is sufficient, the 1999. Second one, with the dollar signs, if you forget that, you have a problem. Third one, if you forget the 0, you have a problem. Then fourth one, the 6 is not a 7 if you add a column. And the last one is you can search only from left to right, not from right to left. Now I show you my magical formula. You don't have to understand it. It's just like, use it as a tool, just use it.